Hi everybody, greetings from the beautiful Goodspeed Company housing. My name is Dan Pardo and this is Pardo's Turn, my ongoing web series and podcast for lovers and nerds of the musical theater. Here with me today is the legendary Karen Mason, seen on stage in the original casts of Mamma Mia, Wonderland, and The World Goes Round, and was in the closing company for Hairspray on Broadway. She toured the country in Love Never Dies and A Christmas Story, has been seen in a million readings, but perhaps is best known in the context of her cabaret career, which was recognized this year with the MAC Lifetime Achievement Award. Today we are going to present one of her cabaret mashups, combining Now I Have Everything from Fiddler on the Roof with Married from Cabaret, arranged by her longtime friend and collaborator, Brian Lasser. Our conversation ran a little long, so let's jump right into it.
Hi.
Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for coming on. We have in our midst a recent MAC Lifetime Award winner. This is the
Manhattan
Association of Cabaret. Why don't we kind of start off about your cabaret career, because you have an interesting duality between stage roles and cabaret venues. Is this something that you always kind of did in tandem, or what was your foray into the cabaret scene?
Well, I started out wanting theater. I lived outside of Chicago and was doing community theater.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to get close to the people who were getting paid for it in Chicago. So my sister gave me this flyer for a restaurant in Chicago called Lawrence of Oregano. Yes, Lawrence of Oregano.
Is it still open to you?
No, it's
okay.
closed. But they had, we're having auditions for singing waiters and waitresses.
Sure.
I was so nervous to do this,
Sure.
but it turns out that this audition actually totally changed my life.
Wow.
Because I met Brian Lasser, who was the music director there. And he and I worked together for 16 years.
Well, I think that answers a lot of our questions, because a lot of times it is that music director performer relationship that, like, how can we work together? Let's put on a show, let's do a cabaret.
Right.
So regardless of your individual pursuits as far as regular stage roles or pit roles, it gives you an opportunity to work together.
Absolutely, and make music.
So the mashup that we're presenting today is one of his arrangements.
Yes, from like the mid-'80s. He was a brilliant writer and an arranger. He could create an arrangement that totally suited me, but it was really, I was just kind of his mouthpiece, you know what I mean?
Well, I will say that it's really great to arrange for the same people or the same groups of people, because you get to not only know what they can do technically, but who they are emotionally and personally, and I think it really rings true for an audience, and it certainly did for your collaboration with Brian.
With the arrangement that we did of Married and Now I Have Everything, I think that's what's really amazing, the power of those two things together, of a new voicing of an arrangement, is that it doesn't have to be so out there and different, but that it gives you a new pathway into understanding something new about it.
Yeah. And they work beautifully together. The theme of marriage, which you've now experienced for almost 30 years,
yes.
It can change like that. I like the fact that both shows that these songs are kind of taken from have this veil of oppression, and they're both Jewish stories.
Right, the instability of it. These are both highly unstable conditions, and finding something that is real in all of that is really amazing. I used to tell myself that I had everything, but that was only half true. I had an aim in life, and that was everything, but now I even have you. the world can change. It can change like that. Due to one little word. See a palace rise from a tomb flat. Due to one little word. And the old despair that was often there suddenly ceases to be. For you wake one day, look around and say, somebody wonderful
When you put a show together, either with him or since, do you kind of think of the overarching theme first, or do you kind of come up with a song or two and then try and kind of create a show around them? What's your process?
A little bit of both. I was very spoiled with Brian.
Yeah.
Because Brian would go, here, learn this, and I'd learn it, and you know, he'd put together the show, and I'd go, yeah, that's great, let's just, I was willing to try anything with him. And you know, musically, we were all over the place, and that's how you discover who you are and are not.
Yeah.
You know, I realized very early on in our working together that I was not really good at singing Stevie Wonder.
Which is funny because some of your most recent or most notable Broadway turns, either in Hairspray or Mamma Mia, have been more of the pop things.
Yes, yeah. Well,
So-
but I've been kind of like the non-pop people in those productions.
Yeah.
We worked at a place called La Pub. We did 5 nights a week, 3 shows a night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were exhausted, but we got a chance to fail. We're having half price, you know, you'll be in the back room, you can bring people in, we'll give you these dates to do.
Sure.
It's like, okay, fine, you know, if you aren't charging me to play the room.
Right.
And unfortunately now the dynamic of cabaret has changed so much that it's a much more expensive thing to fail and to work things out and to try.
Now, some of your early off-Broadway roles date to the early 80s, is that right?
Yeah.
So obviously you moved to New York at some point.
78, 79.
Okay. Did Brian make the trip along with you? Or?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In fact, I probably would not have made it if it had not been for him. I was always a little bit more fearful than he. He was fearless. He just, you know, and he had friends everywhere.
Yeah.
And so we did it together, and we had our first job at a place called the Ballroom, which used to be down in Soho. We got a great review, luckily, and thought, let's just move here.
Oh, so the show was before you formally made the...
Yes,
Great.
we were testing the waters. And then we got here, and we got to do 1 night a week at the Duplex, which was at 55 Grove. It's the new Duplex is farther east.
Oh, so when you go to the Duplex now and it shows all the famous people on the wall, they weren't actually in that venue, in that building?
No,
I'd love to hear a little bit about World Goes Round, because that's such, like, everyone who is everyone was involved with that production.
I loved meeting my heroes.
Oh,
They
sure.
were my musical heroes. You know, somebody who's really needy and a belter, it was a perfect
Oh, yeah.
combination. Working with Scott and Susan was, and David, you know, incredible. To see how it all came together was truly amazing, but it killed me because I had never roller skated in front of anyone before, played a banjo, or...
You got all your special skills.
They are now off the bottom of my resume. On opening night with the skates, it was me, and then Bob Cuccioli was on the end. And I hate to say it,
That's
Bob,
okay.
I'm letting it out in public, a worse roller skater than I was. So putting us together, you had Karen Ziemba and Jimmy Walton, And they were great dancers, skaters, they were over there. That was a good sight. Over here, not so much. And so we're getting, we're doing the I wanna go round on the balls of the skates, the stoppers, and we're doing a kick line. And all of a sudden I feel Bob kind of like getting a little losing grip. And I thought, oh Lord, this is not gonna be good.
You see, when he came on Pardo's turn before, he did not tell me this story.
And so he went back, I went back on mine, and I went, boom.
This is opening night?
Opening night. And my good friend Jimmy Walton, at the time there was that commercial for, help I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yes.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah. So my good friend Jimmy Walton, I'm lying there like this, kind of stunned, and all of a sudden he said, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. And everybody relaxed after that, of course, and Scott Ellis came up to me and said, you think you could do that 8 times a week?
No.
But to sing that glorious music, and I met my husband during that time, so yeah, I know.
So you've had the opportunity to originate several roles. One was Wonderland, where you were the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
Like many other Frank Wildhorn shows that had a long development. Lots of out-of-town tryouts. What was that process like?
What I learned during that process was how to fight for myself without fighting. They didn't know what to do with the song off their heads early on. This was like in Tampa when we were first there. Now, it was written, that song that we hear now was written for me. Ron Melrose was the MD and the arranger. We get to the Sitzprobe, and they really weren't sure what to do with it, and I hear they went from the number before mine to the number after. And I'm already feeling a little unsure about what's gonna happen because of all the changes. They kept rewriting and I get these notes, just be funnier. What? And after I went to my dressing room and wept, I said, how about we do this? How about if I come out and just go, off with their heads? It's the least I can do. And then the song starts, and he goes, okay, that might work. I thought, well, that was easy.
And it's important for especially younger actors to know that you have power in situations and to assert yourself, because otherwise, you wouldn't have had that opportunity. Perhaps.
Right. Hopefully, directors feel collaborative, and, FYI, it killed every night. So, it opened the second act. It was just silly and wonderful. And then when we got to Broadway, they totally changed it. So there you have it.
How did a role like that, which was based on this iconic literary character, differ from, say, the role that you just played, which was this kind of real-life MGM executive in this Broadway-bound Chasing Rainbows?
Well, Wonderland had better costumes. For me. Yeah, playing her, you could be as crazy as you wanted to be. That's the great gift of a role like the Queen of Hearts. Doing Kay Coverman was really wonderful because nobody really knows a lot about her.
Sure.
But except for some of the historical things. She was powerful. She was the one who was responsible for getting Judy Garland in front of Mayer. But she got her way, and I had a fantastic song that I think really, was one of the, I loved it. It was a very interesting arrangement of an old song.
When you're doing a song in a cabaret context, how is that different from performing the same song in a given show?
In a cabaret, I get to sing it from me.
Yeah.
So I have to find how I connect to it. Personally, doing a character, I'm touching that same moment, but I'm having to relate it through somebody else's life experiences.
Sure.
I know, it always confused me. I thought, what the hell does that mean?
No, it's a subtle difference, and I'm sure in many cases the performances are similar. but...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought it has to be some veil of secrecy,
Yeah.
you know, when you're playing a role, but it's just finding triggers for yourself. My combination of triggers is going to be different from Kay Covern's.
So we're almost at 20 years out from when Mamma Mia first came to be. We have original cast member Tanya, right?
Tanya, the party girl.
Jukebox musicals have been around, forever. But I think between Mamma Mia and Jersey Boys, it really cemented that kind of recipe, that viability for Broadway offerings. Do you have any thoughts looking back, what the experience was like, what the legacy of Mamma Mia has become?
We knew it was a phenomenon coming in because it had run for a while and toured and done everything else. But then 9/11 happened, right during our rehearsals. And that kind of impacted it in so many different ways. You know, it made it more important.
Yeah.
When we started, when we opened, I think there was an overwhelming joy with each other. I hate to, overstate how important it was, but
No, but it's absolutely true.
I think it gave people a chance to not think about what was happening outside those walls. Every Broadway show was doing that.
I heard the very similar thing to the folks over here in town.
Yeah.
They needed to be allowed to laugh again. You guys needed to make people dance again and smile again.
I mean, when you would see, you'd get outside of the theater and you'd see the candles and the pictures and, all these loving gestures. But then you get to that mega mix at the end and we're all wearing white spandex and it was like, the energy that came from the audience it was a rush that Judy Kay said, I think this must be how rock stars feel. What was smart about Mamma Mia was that the story was human.
Yeah. With kind of pop rock shows that use someone's catalog as the songbook, so to speak, there's always the question of how are the songs going to function. I find that Mamma Mia is very traditional in its use of songs.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
One of the reasons why a show like Mamma Mia is so lasting is because it really upped the game in terms of how to craft these shows.
Absolutely.
How to tell a story using these songs. Well, this conversation has just been so wonderful. I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Thank you.
Is there a place to reach you, a website, an Instagram handle?
Sure, I got it all.
There
Do
you
I use it? Well, www.karenmason.com. You can reach me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. I am at Karen Mason Diva, at Karen Mason Diva.
I will link all those below. Thanks again, Karen. This is great.
Oh, thank you. This has been fabulous. Thanks,
All right.
Dan.
Bye.
Thank you.
Now you're dancing off. That's right, go ahead.
Come on, babe. Why don't we paint the town? I'm gonna rouge my knees and roll my stockings down.